Yo, welcome back. It's your boy Rico Slade. I'm here with Nico. What's good with your boy?
Yo, bro, I just got done reading this book. I was like, oh, I'm so excited for this podcast. I was thinking about it as I was reading the book
Really?
that I read today.
The whole book.
No, not the whole book. It took me a couple of days. Very interesting.
I
It's
and
about
how do I know
psychology.
that was how did I know that's why you wanted to keep that book up here? But okay.
Oh, it was still here. Oh, silly me. I'm so sorry, everybody. That's so rude of me.
All right, let's get it started. So today's discussion basically is we know that there was a FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago, raiding the
Not my house, but the house next to mine.
right, since you're staying in Palm Beach County. But
Heck yeah.
there was a raided Donald Trump's property. I don't know if they found anything. That's not the point of what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is the kind of the aftermath of the individuals that are rallied around this almost idol-like worship of Donald Trump. And my question I wanted to ask you
Oh boy.
is
Oh my God.
in the supposedly greatest country in the world, arguably the greatest country in the world, what has happened to a certain sect of America that has gone past religion, past politics, and has gone to this almost idolatry of this 70-year-old guy, past Jesus, past George Washington and Ronald Reagan, and has landed on this guy, Donald Trump?
I don't think it's almost idolatry. I think it is idolatry. That's literally what it is. I think word for word. Um, I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Oh man, I just want to put. I have my own thoughts about it, but I'm ready to baby boomers and whatnot. But I was like, I wanted to pose the question about that scenario to you, and then kind of broadly expand from there.
Like how we got to that point, basically, right?
No, maybe
Because
not.
I don't think it's a sector. I think it's a pretty big amount of people, percentage basis.
How like out of the population of let's say America, what percentage do you think about America is this fanatical? This
You're
fanatical.
right to that point because it's a spectrum, obviously.
Yeah, it's a spectrum
But I want to give about that fanatical about 35 to 40%.
of America. 35 to 40% of Americans, all Americans, are if they could have, they would be willing to march into the Capitol building on January 16th, on January 6th. That level.
But it's different because that's something very specific at a specific city. Like a lot of people, a lot of Trump supporters in Hawaii. I'm not gonna travel all the way there
Yeah,
just for that. It doesn't mean they ain't fans.
I don't know about the like to say the feasibility, but if they could have, how many people are that? How many people do you think, just a rough percentage of that, invested in Donald Trump? Not in America, not in patriotism, but into Donald
Same
Trump
number.
worship. You
Same
think about
number.
30%? That's a third of Americans.
Same number. The thing with
That number's a little high, bro.
no, I don't think so. The thing with him and his team, because a lot of people forget about his team. Like he's 100% not by himself, but they know how to play really well with emotions, and they don't let him break out of character. So it's not so much about Donald Trump, but it's about what he represents to those people, number one, and number two, what the team behind him has able to do for him as far as where to put him and how to keep him there, like that big and that important. I've only been here for 9 years, but I don't think anything like that's ever been seen before, at least here in America. I don't know about that big. I mean, going into Washington,
Well,
not everybody goes around doing that.
All
I
right.
don't care how much I love you, man.
This is what I say. And when we have to the America's modernization, though we weren't alive, though no one now alive was back then, America in the 17 and 1800s was a super dangerous place. Men were a lot more vulgar, a lot more aggressive, and a lot more forthcoming. Then I guess we are more tame now. I don't know if we're more civilized now, but there had to be times where we were more uncivilized to become more civil as we are now. With modernization,
I think we can all agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they were back when they were having duels and they were shooting each other down with pistols, that type of thing. And assassinations were still a really big thing, and information didn't travel as fast. So there was that. Um, I'm just a little bit baffled at, January 6th. I'm a little baffled at what happened with these individuals, all the Trump rallies and whatnot. And I think you're right. I think you're right. It's not Donald Trump. It's maybe his team. I'm just trying to look at how baby boomers. I guess baby boomers. That's the biggest group that's really focused in on him.
Yeah.
I think, is it fear that baby boomers are coming into a place in their life to where they're not comfortable or sure that their children, including us, but those a little older than us, are capable of not just running the country, but keeping things comfortable for them, keeping them comfortable, like as far as their biases, their cognitive dissonance.
And these boomers you're talking about, do you mean the ones that support him or don't support him?
I think the ones that do support him.
Which ones do you mean? Oh, the ones.
I think the ones that do support him, they want to leave this earth with the comfortable America they knew. They want the flag waving USA. We're beating the commies. We're beating the Afghans. I think that's the America they want to leave this earth, knowing that that legacy is going to continue. They're still racist, very sexist, very homo negative. Trying to get away from homophobic. I think,
homophobic. Yeah, that's the right word. That's what they are. It's just homophobic.
It's not. That's
straight
not
up.
Right. That's not the right
straight
word.
up.
That's homophobia. That's the whole thing about irrational fear.
They
don't have an irrational fear. I think there's an irrational fear in a lot of things when it comes to history. But I think what they would call boomers, I think they're afraid that when they die, America's not going to be what they left the earth with. But think about it.
Isn't that like everybody?
But that's what it's going to be. If every decade people die, a decade later, America's not going to be what they left. There's going to be technology and new pathways that were. When Teddy Roosevelt died, America was going to stay the way he was? No. And I think that's the boomers are the biggest population in America right now. I think they're afraid that America's not going to be as straight. It's not going to be as Christian. It's not going to be as patriotic as they want to leave it to the rest of the world, which is
that is true. But you can say that about any group of people. Like, you just want to have your country or earth, whatever it is, you want it to be how it is when you were a kid. I feel like that's how it is for everybody. So yes, that's how it is for them. But it's like, you can say that about the other side or about another political party or about another group of people. So it's like, I don't think it's special about them that they want that.
Yeah, I know that the world you're living in now doesn't resemble the world you grew up in, but that's called progression. You don't have the same body that you had when you were a child. You grew up, right?
Yeah, but does that apply to everything?
How does time?
So the fact that something changes, it means that it's better than it was before.
That's a matter of perception, and that's subjective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Time is relative, but chronologically things progress, good and bad.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about it is you cannot keep things the way they were. We couldn't keep slavery. We can't keep misogyny. We can't keep the things we know about our society that are bad. We need to address and we need to make better. Uncomfortable as it may be, we will still make social mistakes, but we got to get better. But I think what happens, let's say specifically for those who are in the idea of Donald Trump, young and old, what he taps into, the idealism that he represents as a 70-year-old guy. When I see young and old people, they talk about him as if he is the answer. He is the answer because he reminds individuals of a time that they didn't live in. He reminds people of a time when America was a lot harsher, a lot rougher, a lot more bold. I would say Theodore Roosevelt's time when he was a Rough Rider. I think he speaks to that type of
100%. Yeah.
energy that a large part of America, men and women, wish they could act in. But that behavior is destructive. That's an Andrew Jackson type of wipe out the Indians, enslave everyone, manifest destiny type of belief system. And that has a cost. But you have to be, but we live in a world now, we have to value other people beyond just yourself. But I still don't understand how people have gotten to a place. Like I said, I idol worship. You worship this guy greater than Jesus, greater than you. The Trump flag has become greater than the American flag. They're creating new history. Well, you always create new history, but there's a warped sense of patriotic history that he's at the center of it, and you forego what really being a true American or a true patriot really is for sake of this guy's upholding what you a comfortable place for them of saying he's going to fight for my way of life, though my way of life naturally will die. It's going to be replaced. Everyone in this time frame will eventually die, and it will be a new way of life somewhere later on.
Did they invite there? I mean, anybody, because I stopped following these things. I think they're stupid. But what was the supposed reason for this? Yeah,
not sure. That's one of the weird things I'm looking at. Like I saw the raid.
Because I want to know like why.
Not too sure what they found. There's a lot of things about everything stemming from his presidency, and then into the
because you need jury's permission of going to
houses. Oh yeah, they got
so it. I just wonder why they were able to do that.
Yeah, my thing though, and I think this is the biggest thing that stems from how this has gone completely out of whack, is I think everything that's given up for public consumption, all public media, all public news, I feel all of it, not even a small section of it, I feel all of it has been engineered for political and emotional politics. I think that's what it's all is.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that you can see out there. If you know about it through any of these portals, of any of this, unless it's people giving their personal opinion, but if it's a newscast, if it's an article written, if it's coming out of the White House or coming from a State Department or whatever, what country it is, I think it's all been tailored to basically say, to push you in a certain understanding, a certain direction. I think even
that's related to politics.
That's related to politics,
and that's a thing I don't think that's just how it is. I think that's a thing that's done a lot here in America. Yeah. I haven't really noticed it other places. Like a lot of things are made just political or related to politics, or it just, I don't want to say revolves around politics, but politics is everywhere, and it always gets connected to something else. And I haven't noticed that in like other places I've traveled to.
I would say I think the political sphere in other countries is a lot smaller. Like I would say it's just as big as in the UK, or just as big as in like say China or Russia. But I would think like smaller third world countries that are more say rural or more laid back, I don't think that's big. I don't think the political sphere is as.
I haven't been to those countries, but that's like good.
Like I think about the Netherlands. I think about like Australia, the Netherlands. I think about like Bora Bora, or like in like other smaller countries like Mexico. They probably still have very strong political spheres, but for most of the population, it's probably not as dense, because they're not getting fed propaganda 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas America, it's a business. In first world countries, propaganda and politics is a business because it's control. It's tied into resources, it's tied into finances, it's tied into the military, it's tied into everything. Think about other countries. Do you think other countries have police brutality problems like we do have in America?
I don't think there's a way to tell. But if
I feel like
I would think it's worse. I would think it's worse. It's worse.
I'm just trying to understand that a diehard Trump supporter.
How we got here.
Yeah. I think a diehard Trump supporter, when you ask them about the things, I think they prioritize Donald Trump over Jesus Christ and over their founding fathers. I think that Donald Trump, because of what he means as their era is ending, I think they look at Donald Trump as the Messiah, which I don't know how. They know of Jesus. They know of their forefathers? How do you believe? How did they believe all of a sudden that this dude at 70 was going to be? They were.
You gotta forget about age. It has absolutely nothing to do with age. What I think
No, it
to
doesn't.
answer
No,
the
it
specific
has to do
question,
with age because he. It's not like he was. It was not like they were into him when he was 40s, 50s. You know, in that era when he was a rich guy and he was known for Trump Towers and all of that. He was
and
a
the
business
show
guy,
and all
right,
that.
and all that. And it's like, oh, okay, this guy. But it's like as soon as he got into a position where he got into the political game, all of a sudden he became this idol. He wasn't an idol when he was just a rich guy. He was actually had a lot of scandal, but it's like nobody was worshiping him.
Oh yeah, no. He was very popular and very rich, but he wasn't an idol.
He wasn't.
He didn't have like the following.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah,
He was on
that's true.
WWE. He had the show. He was on Home Alone. We just knew him as a rich guy who had a lot of public exposure, like some type of celebrity.
Well, he wanted to put himself there.
Yeah, but nobody was worshiping him.
To answer that specific question, what I think is that that happened because the way the issues that he talks about and just the way he represents himself is something very new. Does that make sense? Like you don't really see a guy like him, like as
not in this as
era. Bold.
Yeah,
really?
not in this era. There's a lot of people that are bold like him, but they're not.
Well, yeah, but
they don't go far in public politics like.
But they weren't competing. Is what I'm saying. He was the only guy like that. There wasn't Trump for the left. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. He's different from one. At least the environment has been. You know, there's the scandals. There's you get caught doing this and that. But he's just more bold, and then with what he says, no, it resonates with some people. So that's number one. The things he talked about, they weren't talked about before, or they were talked about in private, and he just straight up said it. That's gonna grab attention, good or bad, it will.
Yeah.
So that's gonna get you some people, right? And then those people are gonna start calling in more people, and then that snowball effect kicks in, and then when you least expect it, it's this big, and it's only gonna grow, kind of thing. So that's how I think the worshiping, because that's what I think it is, has gotten to the point. That's how I think it started, and that's how I think it kept growing. Yeah.
So that worship lets me know that America is not as intellectual as it boasts it is. The average American is pretty. I
stupid. Never really thought it was intellectual in the first place.
I think America.
I don't mean to sound like an a-hole. I didn't before this.
I have no problem with people liking Donald Trump. When I hear people talk about his policies, and I'm just like, what are they? Donald Trump made Twitter. It was already popular. He made Twitter, another company, super popular. Now people gauge their social influence on how they tweet. Social media, not the State of the Union address, not how they articulate. Like, it's so weird the great differences between the articulation and presentation of Barack Obama, and then this guy is like the antithesis to that. And I was and I'm like, that's why when we got Joe Biden now, it's kind of just like, oh man, no, I don't think America can go back to
that transition of power. That day was embarrassing for the whole country. But basically, that's how I see it, and sooner or later it's going to happen again. It's just human psychology. So a lot of people say, "Oh, we're civilized. Oh, look at cars, look at planes." It's not going to change. Like, we're going to be the same 2,000 years. We were the same 2,000 years ago. We'll be the same 2,000 years from now. We'll just probably be in Mars or Jupiter. But it really doesn't make a difference, because human psychology, as long as you're human, is going to apply to you. You're going to have greed. You're going to we're social creatures at the end of the day.
Conflict
so the way I see it is, if you're a human, you get hungry and you want to eat, and you get sleepy and you want to sleep. That's how those are like kind of actions you take. I see it as that. We also have rules like that, but mentally. So we want to be socially accepted, we don't want to disappoint, people. We want to have friends. We want to feel important. We want to feel loved. We want to, I don't know, all those things. So I think that's how it connects to this. Like, it's going to happen. I'm surprised that it got this big, because when they went to the Capitol like that, I was like, holy crap. Like, you don't see that in this country. Like, you just don't.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy.
But I think people are capable of it. And what we see now is this. We're starting to see this thing about America that we know for a long time: the circumvention of accountability, and how and can we weasel out? Can you weasel your way out of being held legally accountable through the courts? And we see how the courts affect certain people and celebrities, and those who are on certain sides shouldn't have the ability to weasel away from accountability, because that undermines this idea of the just American creeds. And I saw something that Governor DeSantis had said about, like, Republicans criticized the FBI and said it was being weaponized, but yet right now they're using government facets and using the court system to weaponize against certain individuals and certain groups. They're doing the same thing. That's like the hypocrisy. But I think one thing about America, I think everybody knows blatantly what's going on and know what people are going to do. But do you stand in a position to do something about it? Because the citizens look at the structures that are in place with the police and with the laws. The powerful people will pass certain laws that are completely bogus. They're wrong. They are completely unjust, and say, well, we made these laws on your behalf for your best interest. Clearly they're not. Well, they're the best interest of this small group right here who has a lot of money, but they don't speak for all of us. Well, they paid enough to speak for all of you, and then you're going to obey the law. And if you don't obey the law, we have law enforcement that's not here to serve and protect you. They're here to serve and protect us. Then it goes from that part where and you kind of have this, like you said, a snowball effect. Like, I believe at this point, looking at the whole Donald Trump thing, individuals like Donald Trump, I respect the boldness, but without the articulation and without the desire to get away from the corruption that is politics, you're not gonna. It's just gonna get worse and worse. I feel like mostly everybody who is in politics, even from the state level all the way up, even like here locally, I believe that
everywhere
all new blood needs to be in the government. The government should not have anybody right now in it that's really over 55. And it shouldn't have anybody in it who's young, who emulates those tired old dinosaurs and those old fossils that still have the very racial, sexist, very, oligarch mindsets of its money, power, race, gender.
But I think that, I mean, it's ridiculous that, what was his name? The guy that got replaced by Major McConnell, I think his name is. I don't know. He's a Senate Minority Leader now. I think he's like 85 or something. He acts like he's 150. Like you're 100% right. But it's not what do you call it? It's not a bug, it's a feature. Is that the same?
It's not a who?
It's not a feature, it's a bug. No, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Have you heard that saying before?
It's not a what? It's a what?
It's not a bug, it's a feature. Have you heard that saying before?
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, you haven't heard that?
No, I have not.
I'm probably saying
I'm trying to get you.
Your
English is good, but it ain't perfect.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if it's that way, if that's what's going on, having all these dinosaurs in office, it's because it works for them, and that's how they want it. They know it's BS, but they
take care of each other.
They're the ones who take care of the actual big guys that you don't see on TV.
Yeah.
So they're gonna leave them there because a 30-year-old isn't going to.
Yeah. Or he will once you get him, because they make.
Or he will, and then he'll be the next 80-year-old in office.
And then they'll keep him in place.
So it's like
years. Because CEOs of companies are a lot younger.
Yeah, they're way younger
because they usually replace, and someone who worked their way up in that path is the one taking care of the old heads that are in the government making the laws and protecting them. And
so that's why CEOs are younger, because CEOs are there and they're really trying to make the company way better and make more money, more effective, and blah blah blah. The 80-year-olds, they're there and they suck because it's on purpose. They're not there to make the country better. That's why they're there. It's just that simple.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's just simple. They're very intelligent too. They're experienced all you want, but that's why they're there, because what they're doing it well.
Companies innovate a lot faster and more often than the government does.
Many 20-year-old CEOs who have great companies, and once they're 30, they'll be like 10 times as successful because they're trying to do their best in what they do and they're good at it. That's what they're doing. It's just that people have people have the actual intentions of all these people in office like wrong. Like they're just telling you, hey, I'm gonna help you and I really
Yeah,
care
because they're
about
looking to keep
you.
the position.
Like
They're
how? Like you don't know me, like just okay, we have the same skin color, all right. We speak the same language, all right. We were born the same, all right. Like, do you believe like a random dude like from the street saying, hey, I'm gonna care about you, oh, this is BS, right? Like, come on. But
yeah,
they believe it when it comes
like
to
yeah,
TV.
when I go to vote right
So
now and I look at the ballot, I don't know any of those people on there. And when I go to research them, it's like I would love to see their affiliation. I would want to see who's paid them money. I would want to see over the years what concessions they've made, who they've done business with, who really has them in their pocket. Because if you look at all the
I think
constituents,
that's not as private though. You
there's
just got
something
you got to do a little bit
you
of
gotta do a
research,
lot of
but it's
research because
not
they spend a
it's
lot of money
not.
hiding.
But if you follow the right like social media again, if you follow the right pages,
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell you pretty much. You don't even got to do research
But
sometimes.
sometimes you gotta speculate that because people throwing dirt. Like there are some people who you will see their political career is intentionally stalled by their opponents and by their own constituents because they know that those people don't play ball. They'll come in here and they'll shake it up or they'll change it.
Yeah,
And the thing about it is the league says, hey, well, we got to keep the league. And like, you can't come in and dismantle the league or start a whole new league, even though that's what you really should do. But there's people who they want to make a difference. But the idea is like, look, we won't stay in business as a government if you change the game. We'll
yeah.
actually have to work instead of just being a roadblock and say everything has to come through us. You'll actually change it, and everything that comes to us will have to work. Yeah, actually working for the people instead of the people kind of having to work to you know, deal with us, which is that's why I detest the idea of lobbying.
Oh yeah,
I
lobbying
detest the
is
idea of
clearly
lobbying.
BS.
I detest the
It's
idea
bribing. It's
of
bribing. It's just
yeah, that's all
bribing.
it is. I detest the idea of lifelong appointments to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court needs to evolve. You cannot have people in the Supreme Court who are all in their 80s if they don't have new age innovative thinking. The You got to wait for all those people to die to get an updated system. It's like everything in the government works slow. Like, look, the people in the Supreme Court, there should be people in the Supreme Court who are top rank, genius level in regards to the law, and are aware of not just the precedents of the law, but how the country is innovating faster than the government. You need to make laws and enforce laws and basically make judgments based on where the country is now. They're older. America's over 200 something years old, but America's lifeblood is young. Populations are young. They're not old unless it's going to turn over and die. And that's why I don't understand, again, going back, I don't understand Donald Trump worship. Donald Trump is not, America in 25 years cannot still be thinking Donald Trump is going to be the Messiah. That line of thinking is not going to be the Messiah. He doesn't think about innovation. Anybody who these old heads don't think about innovations. They weren't alive when the infrastructure of America was built. They were probably young when there were still men and women building the infrastructure of America, doing the space race, saying like, look, we got to get it done. Still fighting the wars. Now we are pseudo like that. We kind of do it. They hella talk about it, but we spend more money than doing anything than our America's forefathers used to do. That's ridiculous to me. And then you let this orange dude he's more of a punchline than anything, but people legitimately worship him. Worship him. And if you call something like, no, I don't, I believe in God and I believe in this, da, 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 da. No, you got a Trump flag at your house. You got an American flag. First of all, you worship a flag, which is an idol. You worship the concept of a country, bald eagle, and all this other nonsense, and Budweiser. You worship things, and your Bible clearly tells you that's not what you should do. Less of one for a country. It's not really listed in the Bible as surviving the Armageddon. It's a weird concept to me about what a dying part of the country clings to in its final days. They cling to someone older than them who is the most aggressive parts of their psyche. And when he goes, and they eventually go, their gay nephews and their Islamic sister-in-law and their black babies are going to be just still working and planting everything and pushing the country forward.
That's right.
This is weird.
It's very weird. A lot of weird things going on in this country. Comment down below what weird things are going on in your life.
Indeed. I don't want to hear about
all
you really. Yeah, comment. Yeah.
Just make it PG-13. All right. Let us know in the comments what you think about this podcast, what you think about the whole FBI raid in Mar-a-Lago. I think that's by Miami or something. I don't care.
In Palm Beach. But
right, around there. Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share, and comment.
There you go.
If you're not listening, you're not watching, if you're not contributing.
If you're not contributing to the movement, that's true. Hashtag contribute.
Don't worship. Don't worship Nico. Don't worship him.
They can worship me. I need some worshipers, man. There's 5 concerts I want to go to. I don't have no one to go with. So I need some worshipers. Comment down below if you want to be a worshiper, Nico. Have a good one.